Welcome to Inside the Investigation. In this episode, I will talk about wrongful convictions. I would ask that you support our podcast series by clicking subscribe. To understand every part of the investigation process, coercive interrogation, as well as flawed witness and victim interviews by law enforcement, check out all the episodes on this podcast. If you have questions about a case, please feel free to call our expert Brian Leslie at the number on the screen, or go to our website also on the screen. Just be aware, we cannot provide legal advice as we are an expert service. Bad investigations are often the root cause of wrongful convictions. When police rush to close a case, they may overlook critical details or fail to follow proper procedures. In many instances, investigators become fixated on a suspect without exploring other leads. This tunnel vision narrows their focus and can lead them down a path of misinformation. Poor training and lack of resources also play significant roles. Officers may not be equipped with the latest techniques or best practices for gathering evidence effectively. Moreover, when evidence is mishandled or overlooked entirely, it creates gaps in the narrative that don't reflect reality. Each misstep compounds the problem, making it easier for innocent individuals to fall victim to a flawed system. In essence, bad investigation practices create an environment ripe for error and injustice. When police focus solely on inculpatory evidence, they risk overlooking critical details. This narrow lens can lead to wrongful convictions. In their search for a suspect, investigators might ignore alibis or exculpatory facts that contradict their theory. This selective approach skews the entire investigation. It's not just about finding the guilty party, it's about uncovering the truth. When law enforcement prioritizes evidence that supports an arrest, they create a one-sided narrative. This mindset often leads to tunnel vision. Officers may become convinced of guilt without considering other possibilities. The impact is profound. Innocent lives can be ruined due to a flawed process. Justice should be built on comprehensive investigations rather than cherry-picked evidence that fits a preconceived notion of guilt. Improper gathering of evidence can severely compromise a case. When law enforcement fails to follow protocol, the integrity of the entire investigation is at risk. Too often, critical pieces of evidence are contaminated or mishandled. This can happen due to a lack of training or simply rushing through procedures. Such oversights lead to unreliable results that may skew the truth. Additionally, sometimes officers fail to document their findings accurately. Without proper records, valuable context and connections between pieces of evidence might be lost forever. Witness statements and physical clues must be collected meticulously. However, shortcuts taken during these processes can create gaps in an investigation that are hard to bridge later on. The repercussions extend beyond individual cases. They erode public trust in the justice system itself. Improper interviewing of witnesses and victims is a critical factor in wrongful convictions. When law enforcement fails to follow established protocols, crucial details can be overlooked or distorted. Witnesses may feel intimidated or pressured during questioning. The use of narrative integration can also be a major factor. This is when used coercive techniques on witnesses or victims. This can lead to unreliable testimonies, as their initial accounts might change under stress or have been manipulated by the investigating officer. Such inconsistencies often become fodder for prosecution. Inadequate training in interviewing techniques exacerbates these issues. Officers who lack proper skills may fail to conduct interviews where the main point is to look at exculpatory evidence as well as inculpatory evidence. The ripple effects from poor witness and victim interviews can lead directly to justice being compromised in ways that are hard to rectify later on. Coercive interrogations also play a significant role in wrongful convictions. These high-pressure tactics, such as the use of minimizations, maximizations, and narrative integrations, can lead to false confessions, where innocent individuals admit guilt and become confession compliant to a crime they did not commit. When police apply intense psychological pressure, many people may break down and say anything to escape the situation. Understanding coercive practices is vital in recognizing how these situations arise and continue to persist within policing methods today. We would also ask you to share this podcast episode with others. If you have questions about a case, please feel free to call our expert Brian Leslie at the number on the screen.